Hello, welcome to this video. Dr. Robert Jason Grant, and we are going to be talking in this video and trying to look at a question that comes up a lot. I see this a lot on social media. Sometimes it's asked to me directly when I'm in trainings and other spaces, and that is something along the lines of should I become a play therapist? Is it worth it to become a play therapist? Should I pursue becoming a registered play therapist through the US Association for Play Therapy or some other governing body? This is always an interesting question when I see it. Probably even more interesting is the answers that I see people giving online when it's asked online and all of the information that's kind of shared that slightly isn't even really correct and also seems a little off. So I'm going to do this video to see if I can help provide an answer to this type of question. First of all, this is the type of question that honestly doesn't have a yes or no automatic response. It's the type of question that really requires the person being asked to ask the asker more questions. Because in order to answer that question, I would really need to know more about the person asking. Like, where are they coming from? What are they doing right now? Where are they at in their career? What have they already accomplished in terms of mental health licensure, et cetera? Where are they wanting to go in their career? Who are they wanting to work with as a population? There's so many more questions that need to be asked and information that needs to be understood to be able to give an accurate answer to them in terms of an opinion or even a suggestion for what they would do next. So it has to really start there. And also, what do they mean by becoming a play therapist? Because this is where we're going to begin. We're going to begin with defining what a play therapist is. So we have associations, organizations of play therapy all over the world. We have one in the United States, but they're all over the world. Play therapy is a modality. It's not a one thing. It's a modality. So you have to think of it as an umbrella term, first of all. What we have under play therapy, the umbrella, the modality, is several specific play therapy theories or approaches. So when someone says, I'm a play therapist, um, that's not that's not actually quite accurate. It's sort of like a quick way to maybe say, I implement one or more play therapy theories or approaches with children. That's what I've learned, and that's what I do with child clients. I'm a play therapist. Really, that term is more of a social construct more than like a factual accomplishment. And so that's an important point here. When someone says to me they do play therapy, what pops into my head? What do I assume they're doing? What I assume they're doing may not be what they're doing because play therapy is an umbrella term. So it could be child centered play therapy. It could be Adlerian play therapy. It could be theraplay. It could be kind of behavioral play therapy. It could be sand tray therapy. It could be digital play therapy. It could be animal assisted play therapy. It could be filial therapy. I could go on. And let me tell you, what's happening in the playroom if you are doing theraplay versus cognitive behavioral play therapy versus child-centered play therapy looks very different. So really people probably should start saying what they really do, which is the type of play therapy work, theory, or approach that they use with kids more than the general concept of I'm a play therapist, I do play therapy. That doesn't really tell you what's happening or what they really do in sessions with children or what they know how to do in sessions with children. So I think that's an important point that we have to make first before we even start answering the question about credentialing or should I become a play therapist? Because you can't really become a play therapist. You can go get a credential in play therapy from a governing body. You could work through the U.S. Association for Play Therapy and become a registered play therapist or a school-based registered play therapist. They offer that credential and they govern that credential. They grant it and then they track it for keeping that credential active. So they have certain criteria that you have to meet and have to go through in order to get that credential. Just like every governing body, you have this process in other countries from different associations or governing bodies of play therapy that grant a credential, a registration, or a certification, or some kind of distinction in play therapy. You have other organizations in the US and again, all over the world that grant certifications in play therapy. If you come do so many hours in our program and so many courses and classes on different play therapy topics or theories, you can get a certification and you can leave saying you're a certified play therapist. So you're certified in play therapy. I think there are even degrees now that you can get in some universities. So you could say you have a degree in play therapy. You can go find a credentialing body that gives you a distinction in play therapy. And then you can say, I am that. So that's an avenue. Would you want to do that? Does that make sense to you with what you're doing? Is it a good fit for you? I mean, that's totally up to you. I mean, that really is a personal decision. It may be something that you feel like is important for you to do in the work that you're doing. You may feel that it would benefit you in some way in the work that you're doing. You may feel like you don't need to do all of that. Maybe in the work you're doing, taking some courses in a certain play therapy theory is all that you're really interested in doing and is the totality of what you feel like you need to do to help the clients that you're working with. It varies greatly, and it makes sense that it would vary greatly from one person to another because, again, play therapy is a big modality. It's not just one thing. And so there's not even just one avenue to get a certain type of credential in play therapy. One of the things that I think is pretty understood in the US is that play therapy is a mental health approach or process. Again, typically what makes something a play therapy, whatever, is that it comes from existing play therapy theory and approach. Theories and approach that are specifically focused on the therapeutic powers of play and grounded in sometimes even prior existing play therapy theory and approach constructs, and then represents the field, the greater field of play therapy. So typically it would be a licensed mental health professional or someone pursuing a licensure in a mental health field that would be implementing a play therapy theory or approach. That doesn't mean that other professionals can't use play. They may do play activities, interventions, exercises that may share some things in common or even look similar to an intervention or exercise or activity that a play therapist is doing in Gestalt play therapy or Adlerian play therapy, a registered play therapist, or even someone who says they're a play therapist who doesn't have a formal credential. Could look similar, could be similar, but there probably are going to be some differences as well, some distinct different pieces, because in the world of play therapy theory and approach, it's all mental health based. And it's important to note that all those play therapy theories and approaches, the ones I was rattling off just a couple minutes ago, come from existing psychological and counseling theory. So they're psychological and counseling theory based. So they are mental health therapy approaches. So it's important to remember that. So this question, back to it, should I do this? How should I do it? I think it's good to get different opinions and different thoughts because for some people it will make sense to do one thing, and for other people it's going to make sense to do another. It's not about there's one right way. It's more about what's the best fit for you. So I'm going to share my journey. So I started out in mental health care working with kids and felt like I didn't really know how to work with kids very well. I felt like something was missing. Most of my training was in working with adults. And so I noticed right away, this doesn't feel quite right. And I don't exactly know what I'm doing. It's not the same as working with adult clients. So I immediately started looking for what do I need to learn that will help me work with kid clients. And I discovered play therapy. And so I jumped right in. This was many, many years ago in the early 2000s. And I jumped in, I discovered that we had this association in the US and they offered this credential called a registered play therapist. And I wanted to do that. I thought, this is great. I want to go down this track because I want to take all these trainings. I want to have this supervision because I really want to take a deep dive into knowing how to work with kid clients and a whole variety of kid clients. So I wanted to complete all of the requirements. I felt like it would help me. It wasn't something I was looking at from the standpoint of, will being a registered play therapist get me something? Will it get me more money? Will it get me more recognition? I was looking at it from the standpoint of, I would want all of this experience because I think this is going to help me be a better therapist to my kid clients. So I jumped right in, took me about 3 years to complete all the requirements for this credential, the registered play therapist credential through the USAPT. And then I turned in my application and got my distinction as a registered play therapist. I also really wanted another party to hold me accountable to keeping up with trainings. So I wanted a credential that was going to require me every few years to do more trainings because kind of just knew on my own I probably would have a good intention, but I probably would keep up with it as well as if there was someone holding me accountable to keep a credential. So those things all just fit with my brain and what I was going for and what I wanted out of it in terms of the clients that I was working with and what I was doing in private practice therapy, where I was primarily focusing on kids. So that's why I pursued that credential and I have never regretted it. I didn't regret it while I was doing it. I've never regretted it. I felt like I got the knowledge I was seeking. I use everything I've learned all the time and have through the years. And I've definitely appreciated um, continuing education, learning more. I'm a lifelong learner. And then I think the other part that came with it is because this was connected with an association, I did more things with the association. I went to their conferences. And what happened from doing that was meeting a bunch of play therapists, like developing a professional community of other people who were in this field doing this work, working out of this modality. And wow, that's probably been the biggest, most awesome thing for me sitting here today is just all of the friendships, colleagues, professional development opportunities that have come just from meeting more people and getting to know them. So I wasn't even thinking about that benefit when I decided to pursue that credential. So this is the path that has worked well for me. I made that decision based on what I thought was best for me and what I was doing, and I have really appreciated it. That may not be the path for everyone else. Again, I think this is not about something is right or something is wrong. This is about what works best for you and where you're at. and what makes the most sense for you, because there's a lot of options. Again, I mentioned at the start of this, there's credentialing through associations like the Association for Play Therapy. There's different private programs that offer certifications in play therapy. There's graduate programs that offer certifications in play therapy. I think there's even graduate degrees now in play therapy. And that's just in the United States. If you're somewhere else in the world, there's all kinds of things as well. Or a lot of those individual play therapy theories and approaches offer their own trainings and their own certifications. So you can be like a certified child-centered play therapist. You can be a certified synergetic play therapist. So my gosh, you've got a lot of options. The point is to think about what feels like the best path for you to walk down. And then don't worry about what somebody else is doing or not doing. They're not living your career, they're not living your life. Make the choice that feels the best for you and what you're wanting to get and what's going to get you to what you're wanting to get. So hopefully that helps a little bit and maybe answering that question or giving you some thoughts if you're trying to answer that question. Of course, I'm always available for consultation. Throw that in at the end here. You can access that through the AutPlay Therapy website if you want to dive more into this. I'm certainly invested in people just doing what they need to do for the what they're trying to do, without any specific agenda involved. I think that's what's going to make you happiest and feel like your career as a child therapist is the most successful, is if you're able to feel confident in what you're doing, you like what you're doing, you're accessing the right supports, etc. So I hope this was helpful in some way. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the AutPlay YouTube channel, and come back and watch more videos. Take care. Bye.